Get NFL Sunday Ticket at its lowest price ever and watch every game every Sunday. Take your NFL experience to even greater heights with NFL Sunday Ticket Deluxe, which gives you Red Zone, bringing you the final yards from around the league along with minute-to-minute NFL fantasy updates. Call us at 601-8992 to sign up today.
Good evening, Bahamas. You're tuned into MB12, broadcasting from Cable 12 Studios on Robinson Road. Coming up tonight in news, government has already paid tens of millions of dollars to Baha Mar for the new West Bay Street, and the money is expected to keep flowing. This as the resort reveals that more than 15,000 people are seeking employment at the development. A visit from the Miami Heat may do more for the economy than you think. Plus, one homeless mother struggled to raise a child with cerebral palsy. We've got those stories and so much more coming up. I'm Paige McCartney, and MP12 starts right now. Welcome once again to MB12. For months now, government and Baha Mar officials have been butting heads over the cost of the redeveloped West Bay Street. The Christie administration doesn't believe it should pay the nearly $50 million in roadworks cost it initially agreed to. However, it turns out government has been making millions of dollars in payments to Baha Mar for over a year now. And today, a top hotel executive expressed confidence that the Christie administration would meet its obligation. Vonique Toot reports.
Government has reportedly paid Baha Mar $30 million thus far to cover its share of roadworks costs associated with the multi-billion-dollar project. That's according to a source close to the negotiations. Now, Baha Mar's senior VP of Administration and External Affairs, Robert Sands, wouldn't give a dollar amount. However, he said government has been making payments and has so far paid more than 50% of the amount it initially promised to.
We continue to work with the government to resolve this matter, and we are making progress in that particular area. And the government has made payments on that obligation. The government has made in excess of 50%.
In the beginning, all parties agreed that government would pay Baha Mar over $48 million to cover its cost of the $100 million redeveloped West Bay Street. However, technical experts later advised the Christie administration it should pay less, something it has been heavily criticized for by the opposition. But Sands revealed today that even as the two sides were butting heads over the issue in recent months, government was making payments.
Well, the reality is that there is an obligation to a finite amount, but amounts have been paid on account for over a year. So they have made payments towards the settlement of that outstanding amount.
Negotiations continue to determine the total amount government would pay. We asked Sands, what if Baha Mar does not get the full $48.1 million it was promised in the heads of agreement?
We don't deal in what-ifs, and that would be highly speculative. There is an obligation to be met, and we are satisfied that that obligation will in fact be met.
Despite the suggestion that protracted negotiations could destroy the trust between the parties involved, the senior vice president insisted their good relationship remains intact.
It has not affected our relationship. We have an excellent working relationship with the government of the Bahamas, and we continue to progress going forward. They have not been offensive to us. We recognize that we have a commitment that's established under the heads of agreement, and we're going to work towards that goal.
Baha Mar officials expect to resolve this matter before the end of this year. Reporting for NB12, I'm Vonique Toot.
And speaking of Baha Mar, 15 months before the $3.6 billion resort makes its big debut, officials have already received more than 15,000 job applications from prospective employees, and they're still pouring in. SANS says they expect to hire more than 6,000 people. In fact, Baha Mar hired over 20 recruitment officers who have the task of visiting college campuses, as well as analyzing and reviewing those applications to make the best selections that meet Baha Mar's needs.
Oh, we'll have in excess of 6,000 persons. Well, the process has begun, but the ramp up will certainly take place after the second quarter next year. Recruitment teams are in Canada and Atlanta in the next week. You would have seen going to universities looking for potential Bahamians who wish to join a transformative project.
The resort is on schedule to open in December 2014. SANS says Baha Mar is meeting all of its milestones.
Certainly our golf course should be completed by second quarter of next year. Our convention center certainly about that same time frame next year. You would see certainly roofs going on all the buildings, sliding glass doors, the exterior facade.
Well, yesterday's announcement from NBA champions the Miami Heat that it will be conducting its 2013 training camp here in the Bahamas is being met with excitement and pride by tourism officials. This is the first time the NBA team is training outside of the United States, and tourism officials say it's a great achievement for the Bahamas to play host. But in addition to being the envy of the region and holding gloating rights about hosting the champions, the Bahamas is also expected to experience great economic benefits from the week-long stay. A minimum of 300 room nights are expected with the 60-plus member NBA squad and more than 200-strong international press corps that's expected to tag along. Tourism Minister Obi Wolchcombe said government is injecting $110,000 for marketing and to prepare for the visit, but the turnaround on that investment will be massive.
You know, you have to appreciate that the athletes are investors, they're business people. Some have never been invited to invest in the Bahamas, and certainly we'll be talking to them. Mickey Harrison already invests in the Bahamas. Of course, Pat Riley is coming. He is, again, a major player in the NBA, a major businessman. So you do have type individuals coming. And I think it's going to work.
Well, Marketing Director of Sports Tourism in the Ministry of Tourism, Jeff Rogers, said the point is to show the NBA team the best hospitality the Bahamas has to offer so that other sports tourism opportunities come about.
Well, I think what this does, it just opened the doors to attract other major sporting events. As quick as this information came out yesterday, we had calls from Chris Paul, who now is the president of the Players Association, and he's ready now to talk to the minister concerning the players assembling here after the season. So this is just the beginning of many, many things for sports tourism.
Wolchcombe said it's also important to note that the Bahamas is experiencing a great tourism boost during what's usually considered a down season. He said this is the trend the ministry is hoping to establish for the coming years, having major conferences and events during the months of September, October, and November. And what better way to start, he said, than with the world champions in basketball. Well, in other news tonight, here's the kind of story you really don't see every day. Our Jasmine Bonamy is going to tell you about a woman who has no job, no permanent home, but to compound all of that, she has a young son who was diagnosed with cerebral palsy when he was only 18 months old and who most caregivers refuse to accommodate. Here's this weekly's Healthy Living Report.
Meet 8-year-old Michael Moultrie. He's been living with cerebral palsy his entire life, and according to his mother, Janita Wallace, it hasn't been easy. Since her son's diagnosis, Wallace says the emotional and monetary strain has continued to mount, especially in the last few months after she lost her cashier job.
Last year, July, I lost my job. So right now I am struggling to really feed the both of us, and I don't have any place to stay. Right now I'm staying in a women's shelter. At first he was in a regular nursery, preschool, and after he got about 4, they said they couldn't deal with him anymore because of his height and weight, because he is dependent on you to feed him, clothe him, everything, the basic needs, he depends on you for.
Cerebral palsy is an umbrella term denoting a group of non-progressive, non-contagious motor conditions that cause physical disability in human development, primarily impacting body movement. Experts say it's neither genetic nor a disease, and it is also understood that the vast majority of cases are congenital, coming at or about the time of birth. The young mother says because of Michael's condition, he was removed from daycare and now spends his days at the Bahamas Association for the Physically Disabled.
He likes to watch TV and stuff like that, so he isn't a problem with me working or having somebody to keep him. He understands. If you ask him a question, he could respond in his own way, but he isn't verbal.
Wallace has been getting help from social services with the food stamps. The government ministry has also set the homeless mother up in a women's shelter. Wallace and her son have been living in the shelter for the past 3 months. The average stay is only 2 weeks, so their time is running out. Wallace is desperately seeking employment.
I've had a lot of strangers who have helped me. My family, they have it is an up and down thing. So they'll help sometimes, or if he needs something, they'll probably try to assist. But unfortunately, right now, they can't take us in. So that's why we're at the shelter.
Now, Wallace says even the littlest help will go a long way, as she and her son are in desperate need. Reporting for NB12's Healthy Living, I'm Jasmine Bonamy.